Here's what we're doing. One is we have arrest warrants out for all of them. If there are some in Texas, which I understand that there may be, the Texas Department of Public Safety is searching for them. We'll find them and we'll arrest them and take them to the Texas Capitol.
They can actually deem that these people have forfeited their position and they can be removed from office. I hope they do it. I don't care if it's Democrats or Republicans or not. If you are supposed to be in office doing your job and you try to intentionally leave your base so that you can obstruct the vote because it's not in your favor, that's not the will of the people. This video is brought to you by TatumStore.com, TatumStore.com. Make sure you get your merch. Link is in the description section. I know y'all love this hat. That's why I wore it. So get you a hat today, TatumStore.com. Like and subscribe to the channel. Y'all already know what to do. Let's get into this. All right, let's get to another story. The runaway Texas representatives. So I wasn't really familiar with this situation, but the controversy is that it appears that they were going to bring representatives to a vote in the state of Texas or something of that nature. Y'all correct me if I'm wrong in the chat. I should have looked this up a little more. I was listening to it on the radio and I've been rushing in here. So it appears that Democrats have left the state of Texas, therefore they can't vote. Maybe it was something like that. Governor Abbott needed these people to be there. They decided to leave in protest. And it was said that according to the Constitution in the state of Texas, if they leave and a certain point that he call a vote and they're absent, he can remove them from office. Now, they could also be charged with a crime, I heard, but I gotta look into that. But it appears that this woman, I'm not gonna call her bald head. I'm not gonna do that to her today. This woman is making a statement as if she's a victim because she decided to flee her responsibilities, abandoning her responsibilities in Texas, and claiming that Governor Abbott is going to put her in jail. So roll the clip, and I'm going to make sure I get some information while we listen to the clip to verify what I'm saying. Roll the clip.
You know, I sort of liken this to war. You know, when you're in a war, you may go away and you have to leave your village to take care of your kids. That's just what happens. And you see all these videos where a child hasn't seen their parent in months and they do something at some basketball game or football game and they break down. We are in a war. So wars call for unconventional things, and wars actually call for sacrifice from families. That's how it is. So people only think of the military, and I want to thank service members. My dad was a Marine in Vietnam, came back not the same, and blew his brains out. That's another story for another day. I was with him when he did it. But I understand the sacrifice of families. My family, we lost my father to suicide. So this is just one of those times. I mean, I can't imagine living in a time with no voting rights. I can't imagine living in a time with no civil rights, but that's where we are. And so what do we do under this new playbook? We thought we were moving forward and Republicans are taking us back. So we got to figure this out and we got to stand in the gap. And yes, it's hard. I have a granddaughter. I adore her. I miss her. But I'm going to have to be okay with FaceTime because I can't come back to see her. Because there's not a doubt in my mind that the Texas State Troopers will arrest me. And if I'm arrested, I literally can't fight for democracy. So I've got to sacrifice. It is what it is. It makes me sad, but it is what it is.
That's there's nothing like a grandma love. I'm telling you.
It's the best gift ever. It's the best gift ever.
Is that what you're fighting for?
Of
Her
course.
future?
Don't you think I want my granddaughter to have opportunities? I want her to have opportunities.
Shut this lady up. I'm tired of listening to these people. They're so evil and so fake and so disingenuous. I mean, so just giving a little more context, pretty much what happened, and obviously Donald Trump probably framed them as the runaway Democrats. Typically what happens is people decide, the state legislator decide to flee their state. They leave the state so that they don't have to participate in the vote. And you need a minimal number of people in order to bring something to a vote. So if there's not enough people, you cannot bring it to a vote. And so what these people are doing is circumventing the system by saying they're going to intentionally flee the state so they can't bring this legislation to a vote. And I believe the legislation that they're talking about here is redistricting. Now let's talk about this for a minute. Okay, it says some of the famous examples is in Texas in 2021. Over 50 Democrats, state legislators, left the state and flew to Washington, D.C. to block Republican-led voting law they said would suppress minority votes. Wisconsin, 14 Democrats state senator in 2011 fled to Illinois to delay a vote on a bill that limited public workers' collective bargaining rights. Oregon, multiple times from 2019 to 2021, Republican lawmakers also did this, showing that it's no limit to one party. It's not limited to one party, but the phrase runaway Democrats usually refers to the Democrats. Now, let's go to the one that just happened recently, August the 3rd, 2025. Most House Democrats departed Texas, some to Chicago, others to New York, to prevent the legislature from reaching a 100-member, quorum required to advance the GOP's proposed redistricting map. Republicans aim to add up to 4 new congressional seats, favoring the GOP in the 2026 midterm, and alleged requested by President Donald Trump. It says that according to the Texas law and the Texas Constitution, the act of leaving a state to deny quorum, while controversial, is not itself a crime. However, it does trigger a number of constitutional and procedural consequences. Core requirement and authorities to compel attendance. Texas Constitution requires 2/3 of the House members, 100 of the 150 to be present to conduct business, meaning walkouts can legally prevent votes. The legislature has the power to compel audience. The House can issue civil arrest warrants via the sergeant at arms to forcibly return absent members, but only within Texas state lines. So that's probably why they freaking leave the state. They cannot extract across state lines. Let's see, Governor Abbott and General Paxton have filed co-warrantos. It's kind of called quo warranto. What kind of language is that? We speak English. Quo warranto. Petition in the state Supreme Court arguing that legislators abandoned and forfeited their office by deliberately avoiding legislative session. A 2021 non-binding Attorney General opinion, or AG opinion, provides the legal foundation. A court may declare a seat vacant if a legislator willfully abandons or abdicates their duty, though enforcement is consistent or are considered complex and slow. So technically, according to the Constitution in the state of Texas, and obviously, I want to say legal guidance, they can actually deem that these people have forfeited their position and they can be removed from office. I hope they do it. I don't care if it's Democrats or Republicans or not. If you are supposed to be in office doing your job and you try to intentionally leave your base so that you can obstruct the vote because it's not in your favor, that's not the will of the people. That's not, to me, that's what they call dereliction of duty. That means you didn't do what you're supposed to do. You intentionally did it. It's not that you're absent because you're on vacation or because you're somewhere else doing philanthropic things. You are leaving your position, your post in office to absconder, pretty much, your responsibilities as a state legislator. I think that's forfeiting your position. If the people have called you to be active and you intentionally do it to avoid vote, they should either do one of two things, or maybe both, I guess. You should forfeit your seat, or they should vote without you because you've made the intent to not be present. Why can't we set it up like that? Maybe this will continue to start a precedent that will allow states to do that. I don't care if you're a Republican or not. If you tear your butt because you somehow you're trying to, thwart legislation, that's not what your job position is. And you can't circumvent that when you don't get your way. That's cheating the system. And maybe they should do both. You intentionally did it. She's on Don Lemon's show saying how she intentionally did it. Your vote don't count. You don't need to be present. So it's just like when people boycott. You can boycott in the private sector. You can't boycott in certain government positions. Like police can't boycott. Firefighters, EMS can't boycott. I think it could be a crime if you boycott, or they can do something to you because they have to be able to protect the public from a walkout or a strike on the police department. And therefore, nobody's protected and the city gets overrun. The same kind of theology should be applied to Congress or the state representatives Because then, therefore, every time you don't like something, then you just leave the state and no vote happens. And then when your party is in power, you stay in the state and you vote in your favor. This is crazy to me. I think people should go to jail over this. Let's listen to what Greg Abbott said. Video clip 2. Roll it.
Breaking news now. Texas Republicans are taking on the lawlessness of Texas Democrats on the run. The GOP is ready to vote on redrawing the state's congressional map. Governor Abbott is now suing those Democrats who fled the state to try to block the vote. He says they abandoned their office and the people who voted for them. And developing now the Democrat plan to stay out of Texas until Republicans kill the plan to redistrict. So are they moving out forever? I'm Harris Faulkner. This is the Faulkner Focus. Now a look at the list of those Democrats who were no-shows for Tuesday's House session. It's long. 54 names, including the caucus chair, Jean Wu. Governor Abbott filed an emergency petition yesterday to remove Wu from his position. He calls him the ringleader of the derelict Democrats. Texas Attorney General Ken Paxton was with me, as you know, yesterday, and he has an ultimatum. Starting this Friday, any rogue lawmakers refusing to return to the House will be held accountable for vacating their office. If you don't show up to work, you get fired. AG Paxton again in focus yesterday.
This is the third time I've seen it in my political career. I haven't seen the Democrats ever leave on any other issue, whether it was abortion, whatever we talked about, they would stay and fight. This is the only issue that they've ever cared enough about to leave. And as ironic as it is, going to Illinois, probably the most gerrymandered state in the country, it's so hypocritical. It's incredible.
DNC Chair Ken Martin on Fox this morning was defending Democrats after visiting with them in Illinois yesterday.
This isn't just some sort of stunt. I mean, this requires everyone at this point, not just Texas Dems, but people throughout this country. Governor Newsom, Governor Hochul, Governor Pritzker, other governors, members of Congress, and other elected officials who are standing up right now against this illegal power grab.
Somebody brought up a good point in the chat. It says, what if the people in the military just decide to leave their posts? I think that's considered absconding. I think that's a federal crime. You can't just quit the military in the middle of active duty. Therefore, everybody just do it because they don't want to fight a certain war. Then they boycott a war and then we all die, right? So you go to prison for doing stuff like that. And I think that also people that are in positions of political power should be held to that standard. And I say it again, and I'll say it till I'm green in the face. Republicans and Democrats alike. If you're a Republican and you do this, you need to be in trouble. If you're a Democrat and you do this, you need to be in trouble. The people have voted for you to do your mother freaking job. And I don't think it's that difficult to do. But these Democrats are so evil.
Here's what we're doing. One is we have arrest warrants out for all of them. If there are some in Texas, which I understand that there may be, the Texas Department of Public Safety is searching for them. We'll find them and we'll arrest them and take them to the Texas Capitol. Those who are out of state think that they are beyond the reach of Texas law enforcement and that they may or may not be. But for one, when they come back, they're not going to go to their cozy home. They will be arrested and taken to the Capitol. But know this, it's my understanding that the FBI is going to search for these derelict Texas House members in whatever state they may be in and help identify for them and maybe work with us to bring them back. Point one. Point two is these Democrats, they have received money and benefits at their request to support them while they are gone. It is a direct violation of the Texas Constitution as well as Texas bribery laws for them to receive a benefit to skip a vote. They could be charged with second-degree felony for committing bribery in the state of Texas. Third, and it happened yesterday, I filed a petition in the Texas Supreme Court that begins the removal process of these absconding Democrat members. And the Supreme Court responded immediately last night and told the leading Democrat in this cause, his name is Jean Wu, that he has to respond to my petition by Friday, where we're going to begin the process of trying to remove these absconding Democrats from office.
You know, maybe it's a tactic by the Republicans that may be unfair to the Democrats. So I mean, I don't care. I don't know if y'all know me yet, but I don't care. I do not care if we do things nefarious as long as it's legal against the Democrats so we can remain in power. I don't care. Why, Brandon? Because they will do it. They have done it. They've tried it. AWOL is what they call it if you leave in the military. You go AWOL. Desertion. All right, somebody's clarifying some of it because I ain't looked at this stuff in a long time. I'm not a military person. Let me go back to what people are saying in the chat. They said it's not AWOL during time of war, it's desertion. So maybe when it's not wartime, it's AWOL. In the war, it's desertion. What did I get absconder from? I don't know what it is. If they leave the post, that's not AWOL. Let's see. They're running scared is desertion. And I think you go to prison for a long time for desertion. All right, back to the point. They'll do it. They'll do anything they can to win. They'll do anything they can to get power. They'll do anything they can to get ahead. They did it in the 2020 election. They'll lie, they'll cheat, they'll steal, they'll kill. And so I don't care at this point if we do a little dirt, if we fight in the dirt with them and we secure the bag on our side. I don't care. As long as it's legal and it's some roundabout way that we've done it, I am good with that. I think it's deserving, in my opinion, it's deserving for us to have our wins too, because they can't just be the only ones winning. I think it's crazy if we think that makes sense. Let's see. Vulture, thanks so much for the super chat. So can anyone just lock up a state lawmaker just by leaving the state? No, I think that the part of this argument is that you're leaving the state while trying to evade a vote, right? You're mandated to be at the vote. The governor can compel or representatives, other House representatives, or even congressional members in the state can compel you to come back by giving you a civil arrest. So this is not something that's voluntary. This is mandatory. And if you decide to leave in a mandatory vote, that's when it's a problem. If you leave the state because you going on vacation and you hanging out, that's not an issue. You leave the state after you've been ordered to be there to vote. That's where the problem comes in. So let's not get it twisted. It's not just if you leave the state and they go, you can't leave the state because we don't want you to. It's like, no, you're supposed to be here for a vote and you're intentionally evading the vote so you can get your way politically. It's wrong. So ram it down their throats. I hope that they all get fired if they don't show up on Friday because, and then I hope that if they can't really do nothing about it, I hope the Republicans continue to fight for this for a year. Let's weigh them out. How long can they stay gone? Well, you ain't gonna see your family. Just stay for a year. Can y'all do it for 2 years? Can you do it for the rest of Trump's administration? Hold off for the rest of Trump's administration and see if these Democrats stay gone out of the state that long. I doubt it. They want to call the bluff of the Republicans, and I hope that they pay for it. Let's go to the video of Beto O'Rourke, clip 3. Look at this coward. Just the face somebody would love to spit on. Now, I wouldn't spit on his face or slap him. Or beat him up or nothing. I would never do anything like that. I don't promote violence. Somebody might want to, and I don't condone if they do it, but I think he looked like they want to. All right, roll the clip.
So Paxton says Democrats' failure to return constitutes what he calls a, quote, dereliction of their duty as elected officials. What is your response to that?
I think what they're doing is the highest form of public service. They're trying to stop the consolidation of authoritarian power in America as Trump and Greg Abbott and Ken Paxton and the Republicans in Texas, thick as thieves, try to steal these 5 seats in Texas because without them, Trump's going to lose a majority in the House of Representatives. And without that majority, there's a check on his lawlessness, accountability for his crimes and corruption, and the possibility of free and fair elections going forward. Those 56 Texas Democrats are all that stand between that future and where we are right now. And so we've got to have their backs. And I'm so grateful that tens of thousands of Americans have texted FIGHT to 20377 to make sure they have the resources for their lodging, their food, their flights, and to the point that you made earlier, the defense that they're going to need as both Greg Abbott, the governor, and Ken Paxton, the AG, take them to the courts.
Fair elections moving forward. When has the Democrats been the party of fair elections? I just don't get it. Now, all of a sudden, they claim fair elections. They said the election was fair. The elections have been fair. There was nothing that happened in 2020. And now they're saying the elections are not fair because we're holding people accountable. Now, if the Republicans can redistrict legally, let them redistrict. That's like saying that a Republican president shouldn't be able to put another Republican into the, what is that? I'm blanking on the name of it. Supreme Court justice shouldn't be able to put in a Supreme Court justice. Well, just because we win 3 terms and we're in position when Democrats retire to put a Republican in, that's strategic, but that's not a crime. That's not illegal. That's called strategy. Like, for instance, I personally think that Clarence Thomas should resign or not resign, but retire and let a younger Republican take his position, and we can put them in the position of power now. Because what we would hate for it to happen is that Clarence Thomas have to retire under a Democrat. Because if he retires under a Democrat, they're going to replace a Republican with a Democrat. If he retires under President Donald Trump, they could put a younger Republican in there that can be there for the next 30 years. And if we get J.D. Vance for 2 more terms, one of these Democrats is going to be done. We could put another Republican on the Supreme Court. And therefore, we'll never have to worry about leftist lunacy ever again. And that's just my opinion.